Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and I have two battles for you today. Both, at first, appear very, very similar. Both of them feature extremely heavily armoured and heavily gunned tank destroyers, one at tier 9 and one at tier 10. First, the tier 9 battle. This is Jacko 2003 in the British heavy tier 9 tank destroyer, the Tortoise. Extremely heavily armoured with, in effect, around 300mm or more of effective armour all across the front of the machine, although like most of the British heavy tank destroyers it does have a very prominent weak spot on top of the casement that can be sniped with relative ease. Aside from the armour though, the standout feature of the Tortoise is that monstrous 120mm gun, which does only do 400 average damage. You know, we're not looking at one of these 750 average damage monsters that you find elsewhere in other tank destroyers, but with at most a 6.8 second reload, it's the sheer damage per minute output of this machine, in combination with all of that heavy frontal armour, as well as an amazingly good firing arc on that 120mm gun that allows the Tortoise to just bully its way right into the front line, slapping 7 different shades out of everything that stands in its way. Now, remember I did say that there were going to be 2 World of Tanks battles featuring extremely heavy tank destroyers in today's video. The first one obviously here at tier 9 featuring Jacko. The second one is played at tier 10 and is going to follow this battle. And aside from the fact that one is tier 9 and one is tier 10, I want you to see if you can spot the difference between these two games. I also would love to point out that I didn't cherry pick these 2 battles. These were quite literally the first tier 9 heavy tank destroyer and the first tier 10 heavy tank destroyer games that I pulled out of the hat. Check out that amazing firing arc on the Tortoise, by the way. That firing arc is one of the best features of this machine because it means you can keep the gun on target while still angling the front of the tank at 45 degrees, increasing the already impressive armour by a massive amount. Particularly when firing around a corner, it means you don't have to expose the side of the tank at all. And with a 1.7 second aiming time and laser-like 0.31 accuracy, you can easily use this gun to absolutely humiliate the weak spots of enemy tanks. That's of course assuming that they do have weak spots, but well, they do because this is a tier 9, not a tier 10 battle. Now if you're sitting there thinking, well hang on a minute, why is nobody shooting at his weak spot? Are they all stupid? Well, possibly, but as you can see there, when you're shooting around a right hand corner in the Tortoise, your weak spot is on the far side of the wall and nobody can shoot at it. It's almost like Jacko planned it this way. Oh, have you noticed that the wreck of the AE Phase 1 keeps moving? There's a ST1 stuck behind it. I'm trying to use it as cover. There he goes. Jacko's making his move. And just for a change, the rest of his teammates are not simply staying at the back of the road watching him, wondering what the hell he's doing. Notice how the Lurver actually managed to land a shot on the weak spot on the top of the casement. Yep. Not entirely sure what the TS5 thinks he's trying to do. Is he going over the top? He's trying to. That is not going to work, Sunshine. ST1, distracted. Nice turret side shot there. Is he going to get the kill? He should be able to reload quickly enough, and he is. Well, the 50 TP is pushed on ahead, which is likely to be really bad news for the Lurver, but Jacko is paying attention to what is happening on the hill at the top of the map. Things have been going about as badly up there for Jacko's team as they have down here on the Banana Road for the enemy team, so conscious of the fact that the Tortoise's strongest armour is at the front, he's turned around in an effort to try to help out the Barask over there, who looks like he's outstayed his welcome and is desperately trying to get the hell out of there, with several enemy tanks in hot pursuit. Or not. Looking at the minimap, it appears that more than half of the victorious enemy tanks on the hill have stayed on top of the hill because they all seem to think that they're tank destroyers. That's not a tank destroyer. This is a tank destroyer. One internet brownie point for anybody who gets the Crocodile Dundee reference. So there's a Scorpion G around here somewhere as well. Have you noticed how the fast mediums, the ones that stand the best chance of being able to swarm and overwhelm a slow tank destroyer, are the ones that have stayed on the hill, and the heavy and the actual tank destroyer are the ones that have come down to fight? Yeah, Where is he? There he is. And there he goes. Oh man, this gun. And there goes the Patriot. Now then, Jacko. Huh. This I did not expect to see. Tortoise climbing the hill. Yeah, he's having second thoughts about this as well. We know the standard B is still up there. But that's all we know. The UDES-16, the Leopard prototype, could be anywhere by now. You really don't want to spend half the game climbing the hill of the Tortoise to have just one enemy medium tank to kill. Especially not when you are much more likely to find better things to kill, be more used to the team, somewhere that isn't going to take you 5 minutes to get to. The TS5 stayed at the bottom end of the banana road and he's holding his own, but still no sign of either the Leopard prototype or the UDES-16, just the standard B confirmed to still be on top of the hill. Jacko keeps checking his rear because a dose of surprise butt sex from either of those two missing fast mediums would not be nice. Oh, yeah, there's the standard B. Still no sign of the UDES or the... Oh, there he is. There's the Leopard prototype. Well, of course he's still up there. Where else would you expect him to be? And just slightly too late, he realises the utter folly of getting into a DPM match with the Tortoise. Or does he? Go on. Do it. Do it. Oh, there's the UDES. Okay. Well, this is fine. Wow, he actually managed to get a ricochet against the UDES. And the UDES managed to get a penetration against the Tortoise. What madness is this? Oh, he's firing gold. Well, okay, fair enough. What's he up to now? Oh, he's going for the kill on the Barask, while making good his escape. Or he was making good his escape. Why did he stop and back up? He was home free. He could have gotten out of there without taking any further damage. Jacko has some remarkably bad luck there, getting a low roll on the Chimera and leaving him on 6 health, but nah, it's no problem. It's just a matter of time. Finishes him off. There's the Leopard prototype. He clearly didn't learn his lesson the first time. Come on, do it. You know you want to. There it is. Oh, and can we all just stop and take a moment to acknowledge just how really annoying the Cobra Commander, Tank Commander voiceover is? I hope he's got some good perks, because it would drive me crazy having to listen to that every time I took a tank out. There's the standard B. He's finally realised, but way too late, that he's not going to win this game by sniping from the top of the hill. Bounce the shot. Yeah, this gun will just penetrate that turret at any angle whatsoever. And gotcha. 2 enemy tanks remaining. And you know where they both are. T-28 prototype and the K91 prototype. You don't really see many people playing those, do you? Great gun. Shame about just about everything else. But this match is essentially over. There goes the T-28 prototype. Jacko's got himself a Top Gun. And a Top Gun is all he's going to get. There goes the K91P. So, pretty much an object lesson in how to play the Tortoise, particularly on an urban map. Very creditable performance there from Jacko, doing 7,500 damage and bouncing nearly 1,600 with his armour. Now then, how about that Tier 10 tank destroyer battle? This, in the T110E3, is Giggity. It's an American Tier 10 tank destroyer armed with a monstrous 155mm gun and with anything between 300 to 600mm of effective frontal armour depending on angling. The more observant among you may have noticed that there is a dirty great big tumour of a commander's cupola on top, and you might be thinking that that's a weak spot. Hang on a second, Giggity, what the hell are you doing with the camera? Calm down, son, don't make me take over. There we go, that's better. Right, yes, you might be thinking that huge commander's cupola is a weak spot, and you'd be wrong, because that also has in the region of 350mm of effective armour. The only place on the front of this thing that can be considered weak, and I use that in the broadest possible sense of the word, is the lower glacis, which in places is only 170 millimeters of actual thickness, but again it's kind of rounded and sloped and angled, and can be very difficult to penetrate too. Now, I do want to reiterate, just in case it didn't sink in the first time, that I did not go out of my way to cherry pick these two battles. This was quite literally the first Tier 9 tank destroyer and the first Tier 10 tank destroyer battle that I pulled out of my replay hat. You'll note that the standard armour-piercing ammunition on the T110E3 has nearly 300mm of penetration, but Giggity has preloaded his 10 rounds of APCR gold ammo, which has 375mm of penetration. That may seem like overkill, but if you think that, you are clearly new to Tier 10 battles in World of Tanks. And just in case you're struggling to see exactly what the main difference is between this Tier 10 battle and the Tier 9 battle that you've just watched, there will be some audio-visual clues, just in case it wasn't immediately obvious. Oh, and this ammunition, by the way, is going to be costing Giggity 5,200 credits per shot. Or to put it another way, every time he pulls this trigger, he's going to be firing 1.5 T2 medium tanks. You ready? Let's see how quickly you can tell the difference between this and a Tier 9 battle. So, have you guessed what it is yet? Admittedly, I wasn't being very subtle about it. Only 5% of all ammunition fired in World of Tanks is gold. Oh, really? Well, apparently that's an entirely 100% true statistic, but what it doesn't tell you is that 80% of all shots fired in Tier 10 battles in World of Tanks are gold. Even so, that's a big difference between 5 and 80. How can that possibly be true? Well, you see, it takes into account all of those Tier 1, 2 and 3 battles where nobody uses gold and everybody uses autocannons, and they get through 200 to 300 rounds of ammo per game, not the 15 to 20 rounds of ammo per game that most people get through at Tier 8, 9 and 10. And that massively skews the statistics. So they're not lying, they're just not telling you the whole truth. And anybody who spent 5 minutes in a Tier 10 battle will be able to point out the obvious difference. You can't hate the players for this, by the way. Giggity's not doing anything that nobody else is doing. They're just doing what it takes to remain competitive in a Tier 10 battle. Not everybody's firing gold, of course. It's just that most people are. This is the unrelenting shitshow that is World of Tanks at tier 10. Giggity's out of gold now, of course, so he's forced to somehow make do with only 295mm of penetration. The bright side of which means that now he's only spending 1,650 credits per shot. Or, to put it another way, about half the cost of a BT2 tier 2 light tank. The same cannot be said of the T-57 Heavy, hiding back there with the FD 4005. The fact that that guy is still slinging gold around, like there's a sale on, indicates that he probably came into this battle with a 100% full load of gold ammo, which wouldn't be surprising. It's tier 10. That's just what happens. They don't like it if you call it gold ammo, by the way. Wargaming, that is. They don't even like it if you call it premium ammunition. No, they prefer it if you call it special ammunition. Yes, that's one straight out of Electronic Arts' Surprise Mechanics playbook. But again, and that's no criticism of the T-57 Heavy player, I mean, he hasn't actually managed to do any damage to Giggity, but not through lack of spending. You see, he appears to be the kind of player who subscribes to the mistaken belief that gold is the practical alternative for skill. It is not. Definitely not at tier 10. Definitely not when you're shooting at T110E3. Gold certainly helps. That's why everybody's using it. But it's no alternative to actually knowing where to shoot. So straight away you can see the T-57 Heavy's problem. Oh my god, he actually did some damage. Oh, he's bounced again. It was probably a fluke. That guy has probably spent the cost of a tier 3 medium tank to do just less than 500 damage. Well, you know, it's his money. Giggity has taken hits from 14 rounds of gold ammo because everybody thought they needed gold ammo to deal with them, and he's fired 11 of his own, costing him 67,100 credits in ammunition charges alone. Meanwhile, in the previous battle, Jacko took 16 rounds of gold ammo into battle on Himmelsdorf, but didn't fire any of them because he didn't need to, because he was at tier 9. World of Tanks can be, and often is, an exceptionally fun and enjoyable game to play. And if you are grinding your way through World of Tanks and you are having fun, then good for you, and by all means, continue to do so. But you should probably stop at tier 9, unless you have exceptionally deep pockets. That's it for today, folks. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.